First of all, I think this trade is objectively funny, even though it makes me mad to think about some of these deals in Browns history. Objectively, the neutral fan, haha, make fun of us for this. It's a bad time to trade Jeudy. She had an awful year. The value's low.
The Browns' wide receiver room just got a lot more uncomfortable because the moment Jerry Jeudy's name showed up in a trade rumor, it stopped being just another offseason headline. It became a warning sign, not just for Jeudy, not just for Cedric Tillman, but for every receiver in Cleveland who thought his role was safe. Because when a team starts getting mentioned in trade conversations before the season even settles in, that usually means one thing. The front office is either not fully sold on what it has, or it is already preparing for a future where somebody in that room is no longer part of the plan. And that is why this rumor matters. Pro Football Network went through all 32 teams and picked trade candidates. And for the Cleveland Browns, the name that came up was Jerry Jeudy. That is not a small name. That is not some fringe roster guy. That is the receiver Cleveland traded for, paid, and talked up as one of the main pieces of the offense. So when his name gets connected to a possible trade, even if it is just a rumor, it instantly creates a bigger question. Are the Browns really thinking about moving Jeudy? Or is this rumor actually exposing a deeper problem in the receiver room? Because if you look at this honestly, the Browns are not exactly dealing from a position of luxury. This was not some elite wide receiver room last season. This was a group that had too many inconsistencies, too many quiet stretches, and too many moments where the quarterback needed help and the receivers did not give enough of it. Jerry Jeudy had moments where he looked like the most polished route runner on the field, but he also had the type of drop issues that drive fans crazy. And in Cleveland, where every drive feels like it matters, drops are not just mistakes, they become momentum killers.
It's like it is an organized chaos, is what it is. But the other thing that came out of this minicamp is just not just Bond, but these wide receivers, man. What a difference a year makes. You put a little pressure on these guys, you get some talent in there with Bond and Concepcion, and all of a sudden everybody starts stepping it up. I said all along, Isaiah Bond was completely misused and underused last year, but I don't think that's going to be a problem this year.
That is the part that makes the Jeudy conversation so complicated. On one hand, he is still talented. Nobody is denying that. He can separate, he can run routes, he can get open in ways that most receivers cannot. He has shown flashes that make you understand why teams still believe in him. But on the other hand, when you are supposed to be a dependable top target, the ball has to be caught. That is the job. You can be smooth, you can be fast, you can create space, but if the play ends with the ball hitting the turf, none of that matters. And that is where the frustration begins. The Browns did not bring Jeudy in to be just another guy. They brought him in because they needed a real weapon. They needed someone who could stabilize the room, help the quarterback, and give the offense a receiver who could win in key moments. But now, after a season where the production was not consistent enough and the drops became part of the conversation, the idea of trading him doesn't sound as crazy as it would have a year ago. That is what makes this rumor dangerous. Sometimes a rumor doesn't create the issue. Sometimes it just says out loud what people were already thinking quietly. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Even though the rumor mentions Jerry Jeudy, the real bad news might also be for Cedric Tillman. Because if the Browns are even being connected to receiver movement, that means nobody behind Jeudy should feel comfortable either. Tillman has been one of those players fans keep waiting on. Big frame, physical traits, potential, flashes. But at some point, potential has to turn into a clear role. And right now, the Browns are adding younger receivers who are starting to make noise before the season even begins.
Coach Munkin says we'll start off training camp just like we've been doing. We'll alternate these guys. There's a lot to see. Quarterbacks and the offensive line, especially once we put the pads on. And what he means by that is he's got to see these guys under pressure.
Denzel Boston is one of the names that changes this entire conversation. When a young receiver starts getting praised in off-season work for his hands, his attention to detail, his route discipline, and his ability to go up and finish plays, that matters. Coaches notice it, quarterbacks notice it, front offices notice it, and fans definitely notice it when clips start showing up of him making catches, climbing the ladder, and looking like the type of target this offense has been missing. When a rookie looks reliable, it puts pressure on the veterans who were supposed to already have that trust. That is why Boston's emergence is not just a nice little camp story, it's a direct threat to someone's snaps. The Browns did not draft and develop younger receivers just to let them sit forever. If Boston keeps catching the ball, keeps showing strong hands, and keeps looking like a red zone target, then someone above him on the depth chart has to lose opportunities. That could be Tillman, that could be a veteran lower on the roster, and if the team ever gets serious about moving Jeudy, then the entire room shifts overnight. Then there is KC Concepcion, another young receiver who brings a different type of skill set. He gives the Browns more after the catch ability, more movement, more ways to stress a defense horizontally. That matters because Cleveland needs more than just big targets. They need players who can create easy offense. They need receivers who can turn short throws into meaningful gains. They need guys who can help a quarterback without needing everything to be perfect. And when Concepcion is in the building, it becomes harder to justify keeping a crowded receiver room full of players who don't clearly separate themselves.
And you factor in the other receivers in the Browns room now, as we're talking about, is Jeudy still going to fit on this? Well, Boston wasn't even their earliest receiver drafted this year. It was KC Concepcion, who they took with the 24th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, and they value him higher than Boston because he's a really good after-the-catch kind of guy, and he'll be valuable to the Browns' offense, could be used in the return game as well.
Isaiah Bond is another name that makes this room interesting. If the Browns believe Bond has some of the best hands in the group, then that creates a very simple problem for Jeudy and Tillman. The Browns cannot keep saying they want reliability and then ignore the receivers who actually catch the ball. That is the issue with this whole room. It is not just about who has the biggest name, it is about who can be trusted when the offense needs a play. If a young guy catches everything and a veteran keeps having drop issues, eventually the coaching staff has to respond. Here's the part nobody is talking about. This is not only a Jerry Jeudy trade rumor. This is a test of how serious the Browns are about changing their offensive identity. For years, Cleveland has had names that looked good on paper, but the offense still felt stuck. The receivers had talent, but the passing game did not always feel dangerous. The team had players with draft status, contracts, and reputation, but the results did not always match. So now the Browns have to decide if they are going to keep trusting names or if they are going to reward the players who actually fit what this offense needs next. That is where Jerry Jeudy becomes such a tough evaluation. If you trade him now, you might be selling low. His value is not at its highest. The best time to trade a receiver is usually after a strong season, not after a year where fans are questioning the drops in consistency. So from a pure business standpoint, moving Jeudy right now might not bring back enough value. Maybe a team gives you a mid-round pick. Maybe someone believes they can fix the issues and get the route running talent. But if Cleveland still views him as its top receiver, why would it move him for a return that does not help the team immediately?
Dude, Jeudy, the trials and tribulations. I mean, this break is coming at the right time for him. Monken said he doesn't believe in vet days off. So if you're not out there, you're hurt. It's just not a good start for Jeudy. After what happened last year, this is not a good start to 2026.
The Browns face a choice: trade Jeudy to reset the room or keep him and hope he bounces back. Both carry risk. Trading clears cap space, but risks offensive regression if young receivers aren't ready. Keeping him preserves talent, but leaves unanswered questions. Can he stay healthy? Can he eliminate drops? Can he be the number one this offense needs? The real problem is that once the trade rumor surfaces, every receiver in the room knows Cleveland is evaluating options. Jeudy must prove he's the undeniable starter. Cedric Tillman, already in dangerous middle ground, feels the pressure most. Young receivers sense opportunity. Public confidence from the front office is theater. Behind closed doors, it's ruthless. If drops continue and young receivers rise, the future looks different. Young quarterbacks need reliable targets, not disaster scenarios. If Boston, Bond, and Concepcion look sharp while Jeudy struggles, the staff has no choice. Winning teams decide on production, not hope. This franchise can't keep building around what players were supposed to become. If Jeudy bounces back, healthy, sharp hands, QB connection, the rumor dies. If young receivers keep rising and the offense still needs a spark, someone gets moved or buried. This isn't about one headline. It's about whether the Browns finally reset their receiver hierarchy based on who actually delivers, not who has the biggest contract. One receiver should be very nervous right now, maybe more than one.